Hi, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the kickoff for the implementation phase of our Cloud ERP project, which has recently been dubbed Knight Vision. So I'm Michael Sink, Interim Vice President and Chief Information Officer, and one of the project sponsors for our Cloud ERP project. So I'm going to pause just a second while Sherry brings up the slideshow. All right, thank you. So we renamed our ERP transformation journey to Knight Vision, which is more descriptive of the type of change that we seek with this program. This is more than a technology project. It's an opportunity to change the way that we administratively operate. And with the improvements in reporting and analytics that we expect to gain, we will also have greater insight to our decision making. We've selected Workday as our ERP platform, and we've also selected Accenture as our system integration partner. So together with them, we'll be working as a collective team to evaluate and improve our business processes and modernize the technology and applications that support the services to our campus community. Knight Vision is more than just a replacement of our PeopleSoft ERP applications. In addition to PeopleSoft, there are also more than 70 other applications that have the potential to be replaced with this new ERP initiative. Next slide, please. So I'll begin our agenda with some logistical information in a moment as to how you can participate in our Q&A, which will be at the end of our program today. We're honored this morning to have President Cartwright and Interim Provost Johnson with us to provide their remarks about the importance of this project to our positioning for our future, and also the commitment that's going to be needed by each and every one of us for this initiative to be successful. We'll then provide an overview of how we've prepared to begin this journey, and then describe what the journey will look like over the next couple of years and then beyond. We're also pleased to have with us this morning our partners Workday and Accenture, and they're going to share with us this morning their commitment to UCF and our success throughout this program. Again, at the end, we'll have an opportunity for us to address questions before we wrap up our time today. Next slide, please. So some housekeeping. So during the program, if you have questions, you're encouraged to submit those questions through the Q&A. We'll hold the questions to the end, but submit those through the Q&A button in Zoom. And please submit your questions as they come to mind, again, during the presentations. And we'll address as many as possible at the end when we get to the question and answer time. You can also upvote questions by clicking the thumbs up icon below a question that may also resonate with you. Next slide, please. So I would like to welcome at this time President Alexander Cartwright to share with us his thoughts on the importance of this Knight Vision program. Welcome, Dr. Cartwright, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Mike. It's great to be here, and thanks to everybody for being part of this. Really appreciate all of you being here for the kickoff of the Knight Vision project. We're certainly excited about what this means for the future of UCF, and looking forward to us working together collaboratively across the entire institution to continue to move us forward. Since joining this university, I believed that we have the potential to become one of the nation's and world's leading public metropolitan research universities. As I continue to meet the people here, it certainly has strengthened my belief. UCF's innovation and agility helps our institution overcome many challenges, current times, and also the rapid years of growth that we've seen at this institution. It is clear that we are on the right path, and for the fifth time, UCF has been named among the nation's most innovative schools by US News and World Report. But to achieve our vision for UCF, we need to focus on excellence, including improving our administrative infrastructure and systems that drive operational excellence, efficiency, and effectiveness. Over the past 20 years, UCF has grown at an amazing rate. The technology that worked for us then should not be expected to still work for us today. Our Knight Vision project is a critical step in building the modern technical infrastructure that will support our pursuit of excellence. And it will allow us to streamline technologies, improve transparency and decision-making, increase our efficiency, reduce our administrative burden, and certainly also put in place standard processes that will enable us to make the most of this investment. This will have an amazing transformative effect on the university. To be the best stewards of this public, we need to make sure that we live up to our commitment to the public dollars, and making sure that we are operating as effectively and efficiently as possible. As I've said before, I don't know of any institution that has been able to cut its way to excellence. This is one of the projects that we need to be investing in that will continue to allow us to be exceptional. And this matters for our entire academic mission. This will allow all of us to be able to do more and do it better. We have so much to look forward to, and the only way we will get there is together. Thank you to all of you who have made this possible, for your contributions already to date and in the future. And with that, go Knights and charge on. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Dr. Cartwright, and we really appreciate your support with this project. So now I would like to welcome Interim Provost Michael Johnson to share with us his thoughts on Knight Vision and the importance of our commitment and engagement across the institution that's going to be necessary to achieve the best possible outcomes. So thank you, Provost Johnson, for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Mike, and thanks as well to President Cartwright. The Knight Vision Project obviously is a major undertaking. A modern ERP and the support required to implement it are not cheap. To bring it to success takes committed work from many people. At its core, this project is not just an IT initiative. It's not just move to the cloud. It's not just software installation and data migration. Knight Vision is just as much, if not more, a project to transform how we do business, changing many of our administrative processes. Doing this wisely and well is as big a job as implementing the software. And that's the first point I want to emphasize. This will change the way we do business. Many of you have already been involved in getting us to this project kickoff. And the second point I'm here to emphasize is that we will continue to need many of you and many teams across the university to pull this thing off, to plan and collect user input and execute the work needed to complete the project. Please know that when time conflicts arise, your work on Knight Vision will often need to take priority. And I hope that you and your supervisors understand this well. You or your colleagues may need to put some things on hold and put others aside entirely to ensure that the implementation proceeds smoothly. And my third point, besides changing individual priorities about work, this also means that as a university, we will need to limit changes to PeopleSoft and related systems if they don't contribute directly to Knight Vision. Updates and modifications to PeopleSoft financials, HR, student, and My UCF portal applications will need to be evaluated using tighter guidelines than in the past to make sure that people have the time needed to get Knight Vision across the finish line. We will take a deliberate and strategic approach to deciding what we will do and not do, using a project governance made up of leadership representing a cross-section of the university. And that gets to my final point. There are layers of project governance designed to let us make wise decisions. The core project team will be a cross-functional group. They'll engage experts on various parts of the system, various parts of our business from across the university to help make key decisions about the project. We're building a campus advisory committee to gather advice from key users. And the key users are those who in the end will use the new processes and applications on a day-to-day basis. Your advice is critical for us getting to a good result. There will also be opportunities for faculty and student involvement, including some chances for internships. So this will be a big lift, but I am confident of our success. I know how committed you are and your coworkers are, and I know this commitment is all that we need. Fortunately, we're not inventing something new out of whole cloth. We have partners, and our partners from Workday and Accenture will help us keep moving in the right direction. So thank you all for being here today to help us kick this off and for your participation in this adventure. Charge on.
Thank you, Provost Johnson. So today we're kicking off the implementation of our Knight Vision program, but really we began the planning and preparation many, many months ago with our pre-launch activities, followed by additional preparation, which eventually led to the selection of Workday as our preferred ERP solution and Accenture as the implementation partner. Next slide, please. So as you know, today we use PeopleSoft for our HR, finance, and campus solutions, our student system, as our core ERP platform. And last fall, we began seriously considering the need to migrate to a new cloud ERP solution. We recognize that we desperately need better reporting and analytic capabilities beyond what we currently have in our PeopleSoft and related systems. And we need that to provide better financial transparency and accountability. We need to recognize or rationalize actually the many systems that duplicate our business processes and our administrative functions across the university. And we need to evolve our processes that will allow us to spend more time on work that better engages our faculty and students to help them achieve better outcomes. The timing is right now because at every level of the organization, we recognize the need for change. We know that we have a lot of inefficiencies, and we know that in many areas, we don't have the staff to keep up with demand and yet continue to do things the way we've always done them in the past. We've reached a point where we either need to invest heavily to advance or customize PeopleSoft, which really creates a bigger mess to clean up later, or we need to move to a new system. We also right now have the support of the campus community, the university leadership, and we also have the support of the Board of Trustees. So now really is a good time to move forward. Next slide. So we began our planning with the pre-launch phase back in January to evaluate our current state and build a business case for what's going to be needed to go through this change and to understand the value that we expect to gain with a new system on the other side of our implementation. The pre-implementation activities and that preparation was important in creating the criteria for selecting a new ERP system and to identify any other related systems that we need to consider replacing as part of this program. And then we moved into vendor selection. And using all that information that we gained during our pre-launch, we were able to make an informed decision as to which platform and implementation partner would be best for this Knight Vision program. So now we'll begin our implementation, but we're going to describe that a little bit later. Next slide, please. So overall, our 3-month pre-launch phase involved over 100 functional workshops involving more than 350 people. And we included some larger voice of the campus sessions to get feedback on areas of opportunity that have been identified by many people across campus. And those folks have to navigate on a daily basis, as Provost Johnson mentioned, all the current applications and processes to conduct their jobs. We've also evaluated our current platforms to understand the scope of the change that's going to be needed and that large lift in terms of what we would actually be replacing. And from those pre-launch sessions learned, we identified more than 400 opportunities to improve the way that we operate. And many of those opportunities will be incorporated into this Knight Vision program. Things like our time and attendance processes, our procurement processes, the way that we track expenses and reimburse those expenses. And then not to mention the, last but not least, the fragmented sources of data that make reporting very difficult. These are just a few of the areas of opportunity that we identified that we will address and significantly improve as part of this Knight Vision program. Next slide, please. So our ERP vendor and partner selection process was established to make the best decisions for UCF in a very short amount of time. We committed to a plan to adopt a contract rather than go through a full ITN or RFP process. However, we still wanted to make sure that we competitively evaluated our ERP vendor and system integration partner options as we had not decided up front who we would select. So we were primarily looking at Oracle and Workday. They're the two leading options for an institution of our size and complexity. And we also plan to evaluate integration partners that had significant experience with those two solutions, particularly in higher ed. We put an ITN out on the street to begin with for a partner to help us with our selection, and we selected Moran Technology Consulting to assist us with creating what we believe to be a very transparent, competitive process to ultimately select a solution and the integration partner that would help us with the implementation. So our goal was to solicit vendor responses, select a solution and a system integrator, and get to a contract signature in 90 days. So that's extremely fast. We sent out requests for responses. So we solicited vendors in advance. And part of our evaluation involved initially reviewing those responses. Then we conducted 2 full weeks of vendor solution demos with both Oracle and Workday, which were all held virtually and involved more than 500 UCF staff members. And the engagement was incredible. And I would say that we likely had more participation virtually than we would have had in person, trying to find conference spaces and try to have a format that would involve the same number and diverse audiences for the demos that we saw in the virtual forums. We also conducted 4 days of virtual executive briefing sessions with members of our board, our president, cabinet members, and our project governance teams. We also hosted 4 reference calls for both Oracle and Workday for a total of 8 reference checks with other universities that have selected those platforms. And throughout that process, and at the end of that process, and in the evaluations, we ultimately selected Workday as the ERP platform. And then we moved into partner selection. So again, we reviewed proposals to a very detailed statement of work that we outlined and drafted with Moran Technology. And we ended up with 4 partner proposals for Workday, and we conducted virtual reference checks for a total of 8 references with other universities. And then we shortlisted to 2 partners and invited them to full-day interviews to interview the staff that would actually be assigned to our project and walk through the approaches from those 2 vendors for their implementation. So we ultimately selected Accenture as our partner for this first phase, which includes the implementation of HR, finance, grants administration, and analytics. So we were able to gain full board approval 2 weeks ago for the negotiated contracts, and those contracts were just signed last week. Next slide, please. So now that we've committed to Workday and Accenture, we'd like to share with you what's next as we begin the implementation phase. So I'd like to introduce Sherry Heron, who will be serving as our Knight Vision Program Director. Welcome, Sherry.
Thank you, Mike. I am excited to work. I'm excited to be working on this project, and we're working with Accenture and with Workday. And I'll start with what we're doing. And so the first thing we're doing is what we're calling Knight Vision, and it includes the HR and finance system replacements. So we will replace PeopleSoft HR and finance. And there's a number of additional things that we will be doing, including redesigning how we're delivering services for HR and finance, and really streamlining and maximizing the efficiency for our processes. Later, we will work on the student implementation, and that is still, the timing of that is a little bit to be determined, and we are keeping in mind the student integrations and any student impacts as we're working through the HR and finance systems. In going through this program, we have some guiding principles. These were established during the pre-launch effort. And our focus will be on simplifying and standardizing our technology using an ERP first approach. This means we will work to use out-of-the-box functionality as much as possible, and also standardize the technology across units. As you have heard from Mike and others, this is a transformative effort. And so we will be transforming business processes, transforming how we deliver services, and some roles will also be transformed. We will be establishing performance metrics for both the project and for the desired outcomes of the project to ensure we meet the university's goals and the objectives set when we made this investment. We plan to be transparent and inclusive. We plan to involve many community members and subject matter experts from across the university in providing input. And we plan on sending frequent communications, inviting you to quarterly open forums like this, and just giving you information on the project, its impacts, any challenges, and just being as transparent as we can be. And then we also plan to be held accountable. So the project team members and the governance groups will be accountable to make sure that we are successful, and they will also be empowered to make critical decisions. And they are also accountable for making sure we involve the right people along the way. We have, as we're going through this Knight Vision program, the Workday implementation is certainly the largest portion of the work, but there are some significant efforts that are going to be transformative in nature and a part of the Knight Vision program. And in order to be successful with the Workday implementation, we really need to transform the way we deliver services, for example, in order to make sure we have the most effective and efficient administrative processes. We will be putting in an enterprise analytics platform along with the reporting associated with Workday to ensure that our leaders get the information they need when they need it to make decisions. A current effort right now, implementing the adaptive planning software, that's happening now, and that should be done in the spring. And these are all related to each other, so we have put them under the umbrella of Knight Vision. Change management is critical to the success of the project, and it will be throughout all of these work streams. Change management will be integral, and training, support, communications, managing a network of change agents, and then also offering internship opportunities to students who may be interested in participating in the project. One of the first things we're doing is staffing the project, and there's been some planning for this already, but until we selected a partner in Accenture and a software vendor, Workday, we really did not have the actual roles nailed down. So we're in the process of finalizing the roles that are needed and the skills and experience that are needed for those roles in order to be successful. And we will, in the next few weeks, be posting positions, interim positions to work on the project. So our plan is to hire the best folks who have the UCF experience and the process knowledge necessary to work on the project. And then they would be put on this project as an interim role. And then the plan would be that they would go back to their former role when they are done. So the backfill approach is that we would, the units can decide how to backfill those roles. If someone from your unit gets hired onto the project, they would leave their salary behind, and the backfill decisions would be left to the departments. And in some cases, there may be some work that doesn't need to be done anymore. For example, a new custom application in PeopleSoft may not be required, or we may not have the resources to do that. So that role might be moved over to the project. And that will be decided on a case-by-case basis by the departments. High-level timeline, right now, we are kicking off, obviously, and then we also have a project staffing effort underway. Workshops and planning with Accenture will follow shortly, and some people will be pulled into workshops. Subject matter experts from across the university will be pulled into workshops or invited to workshops, I should say, to help us make sure we've documented the current state and plan the project. Some of those folks will end up applying for some of the roles and being staffed on the project, and then some will be subject matter experts that we call on for information and key input along the way. Then we'll move into architecture and configuration of the system, testing, and our plan is to go live in July of 2022. So that's just about 18 months or 20 months. And then after that, we'll still have a few features that are rolling out in the subsequent 6 months. So that 18-month timeline to go live in July of 2022, it's aggressive, but we're confident that we can do it. And we're excited that Workday and Accenture are going to be here to help us. We have the Executive Steering Committee, one of our governance groups, that is helping us to advocate for change, to provide guidance, and ensure alignment of the Knight Vision program with the UCF's strategic objectives. And we have some of them here today to answer questions after the session after our presentations are complete. In addition, we have the Business Owners Council, and these folks are involved on a weekly, if not daily basis, reviewing key decisions, providing direction to the Knight Vision project team, and on strategic and tactical issues. One of the things that this BOC does is, well, one of the goals is to make sure that we're getting input from the Campus Community Advisory Group and from faculty advisors. So we're working to identify folks for those areas. And the campus community involvement. So this is the Campus Community Advisory Group just mentioned. And this is a key part of the project. It's very important that we have folks from across the university who can provide input in a structured way, help us with key decisions, and provide that campus perspective. So there will be some, this group is new and it has not been staffed. So we will be sending out applications or making applications available in the next few weeks, and folks who are interested and who have the subject matter expertise and experience at UCF to assist with this effort will hopefully want to apply. And it is very exciting to work on this project. So I'm hoping that folks will definitely want to participate. So next, we'll come back to next steps in a few minutes, but I'd really like to introduce Workday and Accenture. And first up, we have Rob Steele from Workday, who's here to talk to us a little bit about Workday and their partnership with us and what we're planning to do.
All right there. Well, thank you very much, Jerry, and good morning to the University of Central Florida community. As mentioned, my name is Robert Steele. I serve as the Vice President of Higher Education here at Workday, and I want to say on behalf of the entire company, thank you so much for entrusting us with your business and on this project. Special thanks to Dr. Cartwright, to Dr. Johnson, as well as Mike Sink for their sponsorship and leadership in this project as well. We are very excited here and thankful that you've chosen Workday and Accenture for this project. I just want to start off by underscoring the fact that we understand, we respect, and we will never lose perspective on the fact that this is a once in a career, once in a generation type of project for many of you. These projects are large, campus-wide kinds of endeavors. And this is something that while we do this for a living, we understand that you may do this only once in a career. So you'll know that we're always sensitive to that and we'll never lose perspective on that. And the fact that we've done this before, if you a little bit about Workday, we've done this over 3,500 times across the world with large, complex organizations like the University of Central Florida, whether that's with Fortune 500 or Fortune 100 companies, or over 300 in the public sector, cities and counties and state governments and large public R1 research universities like yourselves, and some of your peers out there that have gone down this path before, like the Ohio State University and Arizona State University, the University of Texas at Austin, the University of Virginia, Georgia Tech University, and so on. And our roots, by the way, of our people go back to the PeopleSoft days. Many people at our company have experience working in higher education going back to the PeopleSoft days. So this is something with which we have a great degree of experience and perspective as we move forward. One thing I do want to reinforce, something that both Mr. Sink and Mr. Johnson had mentioned earlier on the call today, is that while these may seem like a technology project, this is about people. This is about an investment as you, as a workforce. This is also an investment in campus and about campus's future. And while technology may be the enabler, these are first and foremost people projects. Now, it's not to glaze over the fact that the technology is important. You are taking on what is recognized as the best modern ERP in the world right now. And moves to the cloud for your peers have resulted in business transformation, more efficient processes, eliminations of redundant and unnecessary old systems, and a modern approach to data management instead of collating data for you to actually use data for insights, infrastructure, security, and finally, to poise you for growth. We know that the University of Central Florida is on the move. What you have done over the last couple of years is impressive. As your national profile continues to grow, we see ourselves in helping you achieve that vision. Of course, in the end, though, it's all about people. Everything is about people. And it's really going to be about you. As I said before, this is a people technology project, and it's also an investment in you as people as well. You are about to embark on a challenging, rewarding, and a special journey. All of you are going to have stories about this for years to come. You'll be talking about this with your peers in the industry, and it's something that I think that you'll be able to look back upon one day with pride and with satisfaction. There'll doubtless be some bumps along the way. There are in any one of these projects. However, we believe that you will create a better, more sustainable future for the University of Central Florida and leave the institution in a better place for those that come after you. So as I said earlier, we are thrilled and we are thankful and we're honored to be part of your journey. And to speak a little bit more about the project itself and the effect on the community, I'd like to invite my peer at Accenture, John Harrison, to tell you a little bit more. So thank you again to the University of Central Florida community, and we look forward to a wonderful project.
Hey there, good morning, and thanks a lot, Rob, and welcome everyone from UCF. My name is John Harrison, and I am based in Baltimore, Maryland. I started my career in higher education and have been serving in higher education or consulting to higher education for more than 40 years now. I started when I was -4, so we'll go from there. But I just wanted to say that we are so excited about the journey that we have in front of us to work with and alongside UCF to make this deployment a success. And that would include the transformation of many different business processes, as well as organizational alignment with all of those activities as well. So if you'll advance the slide, please. We thought it would be wise to just share a little bit of information about the Accenture practice. As some of you may know, Workday certifies certain partners to be available for higher education institutions to select for their deployment. It's a pretty elaborate certification process that started back in 2010 when Workday began their focus on education and government. And since that time, we've worked with over 63 different colleges and universities to deploy Workday. The most important thing here I wanted to mention is really the picture and the image of stacking hands in the middle there. That's a key part of what we do during the implementation process, making sure that all key stakeholders for various operations within the university are considered, from the research enterprise to what we need to do from the student services component as we look forward to building an acceptable foundation for your eventual move to student. If you'll advance the slide, please. So we just thought we'd want to give you all some comfort that we've completed this before, and this project, while Sherry mentioned it was aggressive, it is a schedule that is workable. It has been completed before. You'll notice here that we've worked with a lot of different kinds of institutions. That works to our advantage when we look at how different schools and colleges might process information within the university. And also, if you'll pay attention there's a lot of very significant research institution experience. More than 15 different R1 and R2 institutions have been completed across the board. So my role will be as a co-executive sponsor working with your executive committee along on the Workday program itself. My goal and my role nationally within Accenture is to focus on Workday throughout higher education in the United States. And you might ask why we have a co-executive sponsor. Well, I'm going to turn it over now to Stu Brown, who is our local Accenture leader, who is an avid UCF graduate and has a very important role within our company globally. And Stu, turn it over to you as co-sponsor.
Great, thanks, John. And Knight Nation, I'm thrilled to be here. So as a proud Knight, I'm excited to bring the best of Accenture to help UCF on this journey. And I want to say for us, it's a privilege to help. And you know, as someone that's been part of the UCF family for well over 30 years now, I'm excited about what this is going to bring for the future for UCF. So we understand, as you've heard, it's not just a technical event. You know, Accenture does this large transformational systems for clients across the globe, including the Affordable Care Act and some of the things you probably don't know that we do that touch you every day. We take pride in helping clients realize the benefit of events like this. As you've heard, Workday for us is a core component of our platform and our ERP vision. In fact, Accenture just recently converted over to Workday for our 500,000 plus employees. And as John said, I'm not only an alum, I actually also run the Florida practice for Accenture. I am actually in Tampa, where I moved when I joined Anderson Consulting back in 1997 when I graduated from UCF with my engineering degree. I look forward to bringing the best of Accenture, and I encourage you to go out and look at what Accenture's vision is. It aligns really well with UCF, whether that's our record around innovation, which is why our university was founded, whether that's around inclusion and diversity, which is we're the first public Global 100 company to publish our IND and gender stats, whether that's our sustainability commitments, but more importantly, all that adds up to delivery for our clients. So I'm excited about that, but I'm even more excited about expanding our relationship going forward and giving students opportunities, figuring out how we get closer together in innovation, and really take this to the next level. So I'm extremely proud to be the executive sponsor, and I'm here, and I'll be present as we go forward. So if you see me at football games, I sit in section 210, so stop by and say hi or stop me in the hall. I believe UCF equipped me to succeed. And I look forward to bringing the best of Accenture to help UCF continue that for the next generation, including my own kids who are entering college in the next year. So with the end of that, I'll say, go Knights, charge on.
Thank you so much, Stu and John and Rob. We really appreciate you being here today, and we're very much looking forward to working with you over the next 2 years. All right, so next I'll talk about some next steps. What's next? So the first thing that you will see that will be evident is there will be some job postings over the next several weeks, and maybe a few that come a little bit later. We will, as those get posted, we'll certainly make sure that there's a link on our website to ensure that you can check there, but you could also check at the UCF job site, but that's where those will be. And then we are also at the same time working on the business process workshops. So Accenture and the project team are meeting, and then over the next few weeks to set up those workshops, to make sure we invite the right people who can provide the right input. And those people will be from across the various units. And the next thing we are doing, which is, these are all happening in parallel, is establishing the Campus Community Advisory Group. And I talked a little bit about that a few minutes ago, and there was a question, so I'll answer this question here. The time commitment for that would be probably between 1 and 6 hours a week. So very heavy time commitment if there's some significant decisions that need to be made and impacts that need to be determined. But I would say typically 1 to 2 hours a week. So we'll try to make sure that that's clear when we put out the information for the applications. We plan to identify a faculty advisor or more than one to work with the BOC and the ESC. We do plan to have open forums like this with more detailed information as we move forward, and certainly frequent communications so that you know what the impacts are, what the next steps are, and where we are with the project. And the Knight Vision website will be updated frequently with information about where we are and what our plans are as well. And then lastly, we are focusing resources on the Knight Vision work. So this is a comprehensive project. It requires resources from across the university. And that means there will be more stringent guidelines on projects. There will be some things where we may have modified, like modification requests for the finance or HR systems. If they're not required by regulation or some other critical production issue, they may be deferred. So that is just something to look for and to speak to your technical liaisons about. All right, and next I wanted to let you know we had a name contest, and if you came to the kickoff of the pre-launch back in, I think it was January or February, we announced a name contest and we received many submissions. And the one that won was Knight Vision. As you've seen, that's what we were calling the project. And we wanted to just mention that Jessica Scheck was the person who submitted that. So we're very grateful to Jessica and her creativity and thoughtfulness in submitting that. And then we also thank all the folks who submitted suggestions, because there were some great suggestions. And this one it received the most votes. So thank you, Jessica, and congratulations. So next we're going to move into the question and answers period of our presentation. So we have certainly the panelists here, our Business Owners Council members and our Executive Steering Committee members can help us answer some questions. And remember that you can upvote questions. And I do see that there are several questions in the chat, so I'm excited about that. And I'm going to stop sharing. And so if the panelists can come on camera and be prepared to answer questions, that would be great. And I'm going to stop sharing, and then we will move on to question number 1. All right, so question number 1. Are you planning on including staff, for example, are you planning on including staff, for example, administrative coordinators on the project, as they use these systems more than senior level administrators? Maureen, are you available to answer that question?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Sherry. Yes, obviously, as was described a little bit earlier, there are a number of ways for individuals to get involved in providing feedback to the teams that will be doing the configuration. So for example, in HR, there will be an HR team made up of a number of people. And as Sherry mentioned earlier, there will be positions posted for those individuals who will work on the project specifically. Throughout the process, there will be points in time where configuration decisions will need to be made, and there will be feedback that will be needed on, okay, so here are some options on how we can configure. So there will be groups that will be pulled together to present, here are ways that we can configure, give us your feedback. So in that way, those who actually work with the processes every day will have an opportunity to provide that feedback and talk about what the pros and cons are regarding a specific decision on how to configure a business process. Does that share help?
It sure does. Thank you. All right, question number 2. Can you elaborate on all the opportunities the campus community will have to participate in the Knight Vision project? Mike Sink, would you like to take that one?
Sure. So as Maureen mentioned, there will be a lot of sessions for the folks that are part of the campus community as we go through some of the business process design. But we're also talking about doing quarterly town halls such as this, where we'll be able to share information back to the campus community, even those that are not directly involved in some of the process or configuration activities, to demonstrate, to show our progress, to give you an idea of maybe even some of the look and feel when we get to that point, so that you have an opportunity to provide some feedback. We definitely don't want to go away after this point and disappear for 2 years and come back and turn this thing on without having a lot of participation. That would be a really bad idea. So we definitely want your feedback throughout the process. So open town halls like this one. We do want, as we get into some of the conference room pilot sessions, and I think this is an advantage that we actually have with having some of the virtual technology capabilities that we've all become accustomed to. I think the ability for us to include more people in some of those demonstrations is going to be even more powerful than if we had a conference room with only 30 or 40 people in there. So I think there will be actually a lot more opportunity with some of the technology that we have available, and again, that we've become accustomed to over the next couple years as we make progress. And if I've missed anything, I would encourage any other panelists to jump on as well. I'd also like John Harrison, if you would like to maybe make a few comments as to some other things that you've seen that have been successful with other implementations that you anticipate that would be good for UCF, particularly during this moment for us.
Sure thing. Thank you, Mike. And what I would say, at the outset is to echo your comments about the remote nature of the work that we're going to be performing as we kick off here provides a lot more opportunity for a very inclusive process. One of the things we do need to keep in mind as we go forward are all of those guiding principles and making sure we adhere to those as we go forward about standardization, using out-of-the-box functionality, et cetera. With our experience with other Florida institutions within the state university system, we already are aware of a few key items that are important to support state reporting. Specialized payroll for, the faculty, 26.1 pay periods, all of those kinds of things that we need to factor into the actual deployment process. What we start off with is a business process alignment. Sherry mentioned earlier about an inclusive process to understand how we go about things today, how we, educate the community on this is how Workday would handle that particular process out of the box, and then work out the specifics of what might be required. And we do that with a pretty open process and community that would be involved in that. So I saw a number of questions in the chat or Q&A, that talked about, will departmental administrators be involved? Will, the staff in the different units that, have a ton of experience about why we do things the way we do them within UCF today. Those are all going to be very important perspectives that we gather. There will be many, many opportunities for many people to participate, especially when we get to the point of testing. Mike just mentioned about conference room pilots, and Maureen talked about the configuration and how we're handling those things. Will all of the perspectives from the School of Medicine, the downtown campus, and other the online campus, how will they be factored into this whole process? All perspectives are expected to be included in the process. And when you saw that picture of all the hands stacking together, that was an important image that was really designed to make that clear. So we're excited about it. We think we're going to have a lot of fun together with you all. It will be a lot of hard work, but nothing that is worthwhile is usually very easy to accomplish. So let's go make it happen together.
Great, thank you, John. I'd also like to mention as well, there will be significant training opportunities throughout the program. And there will be different types of training, right? There will be people who are going to be more hands-on with the configuration, so they'll get a little more in-depth on how to configure the system. There will be people who will be responsible for configuring some of the workflow, that sort of thing, that will be in the new system. But all of us are going to use this system to conduct our HR activities, whether we're requesting time off, whether we're submitting travel expenses for reimbursement. And we're going to need training on that. So there will be involvement. But before we get to that, where the final product is developed and we're providing final training, again, back to some of those testing opportunities, the more that everyone has an opportunity to see the product along the way as it's being built, it will actually reduce the amount of time that it will take for us to get through that learning curve at the end when we have to go through those training opportunities. So again, I think there will be a combination of testing and training along the way that will inform the campus community in some pretty powerful ways over the next couple of years.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, John. All right, question number 3. What is the plan to staff the project with a truly diverse team, including women and point of contact in leadership positions? Maureen, would you like to take that?
Sure. I saw that question and I thought that one's coming to me. So that's a great question. And one of the things I want to assure everyone is that all of the positions on the project team are going to be posted both internally and externally. And that's going to be important for everyone, because this is a great opportunity for individuals to gain new skills and experience working on a project just like this. It's also important to know, though, that there are qualifications that individuals will need to meet in order to work on this project, because it is a very specialized project. Of course, you need to meet those qualifications in order to be hired to work on the team. So be looking for those. Sherry talked about that a little bit earlier. Once those individuals are hired to work on the team, we will be hiring backfill to work in the departments if individuals come from the departments. So please be looking for those opportunities as well. The one thing that we have done that will be posted, if it's not already posted on the project website, is we have developed a project staffing document, staffing and backfill, that talks about when we will post positions and at what level we will provide backfill for functional departments if individuals go over to the project. So please look for that on the website, on the project website. We felt like that needed to be a foundational document and public and clear and transparent, so that everyone in our campus community really understood that we are interested in attracting a diverse group of individuals to work on this project, as well as following our guidelines for staffing and diversity and inclusion.
And Maureen, the question, and you may have already answered it, but I just wanted to reread the question. What is the plan to staff the project with a truly diverse team, including women and people of color in leadership positions? So that was misread. So I just wanted you to, if there's anything else you want to add, I want to make sure that you can.
I think it's important to know that our hiring process for the project will be what we always have in our hiring process at UCF. We will hire the best person, the most qualified person for the role. And we will have an open and transparent hiring process for the project and for our backfill positions.
Thank you. All right, question number 5. We only have a few minutes left, so we'll have one more question. It seems that senior level administrators are always the go-to for planning processes, etc. But it's really the staff that use the processes, systems, procedures on a daily basis. Kathy Mitchell, would you like to take that one?
Sure. I think, just to echo what Maureen said, for all of the roles in the project, we've got Accenture provided us and Workday provided us, the list of jobs and positions that we need to fill for the project. And so we'll be doing searches. Most of the positions will be posted internally and externally, and we'll do what we can to find the best qualified candidate. The senior level people, most of the executive service committee and the BOC, we're not the boots on the ground. We don't know the details of how do you process transactions and what errors and how do you handle those errors. So of course, yes, we will be looking for, boots on the ground folks that know how to do that and can provide us with feedback on things we need to consider in the project.
Thank you so much, Kathy. And there are a few more questions that we will work to make sure are answered on the website. So we are recording all the questions, making sure that we are responding to you. So you'll either get a response directly if it was not put in anonymously, or we'll put it on the website so that you can see those answers. So thank you all so much for being here. Thank you, President Cartwright, for taking all this time with us, and Provost Johnson, Rob, and John. and Mike, I'm going to just share my screen one more time and share with you the Knight Vision website information. We're really grateful to the panel, and we're grateful for everyone who decided to participate today. This is a really important effort, and many of you will be engaged in the effort in one way or another. So we're very excited to work with all of you. The Knight Vision website is on your screen, knightvision.it.ucf.edu. And you can also email knightvision@ucf.edu if you have a question or just anything, if you want to provide some input. So we really look forward to hearing from you. We really appreciate your time today. And we hope that you all have a wonderful day and will continue to stay engaged.
Thanks, everyone. Go Knights and charge on.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Go Knights.
Wow.
Thank you.